The 2% is our project, as it we're getting done. Yeah, I'm also doing some labor. Just like I stay out there. And few people. It's a difficult work for
Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, 9 o'clock. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Get a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the minutes of the November 10th regular meeting and the November 11th, 2025 special session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the employee claims filed with the County Auditor's Office for $304.25.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approve the election claims filed with the County Auditor for $19,037.10.
So, go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in
That was
favor?
just mainly precinct official workers, delivery and rent of the precinct section, a few that we have.
Thank you. Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approve the claims filed with the County Auditor for $221,520.79.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Every year we have to, name our official newspaper. We need a motion to approve our Independence Bulletin Journal. Typo on there.
Yeah, I seen that this morning. We're bulletin.
Bulletin Journal is the official newspaper for 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we need to approve the appointment of the zoning commission. We have 2 candidates. First one is Nick Denny from Winthrop. He is an entrepreneur, financial advisor. Owns Nick's Family Grocery and Fat Jeff's Catering. Volunteers at the Winthrop Civic Club. And he farms and raises cows with his dad.
Does he live in town or out in the country?
I think it's a rural address. It's
Yes, he is rural.
yeah. And our second is Anthony Erger from Brandon. He's a self-employed farmer and we discussed this, they're looking for somebody with from the Brandon or Fairbank area. And he has been a resident of Buchanan County, I think, his entire life, so.
I will make a motion to appoint Andy Erger to.
Sure.
Elena Schmitz, I'm chairman of the zoning commission. And currently, we do not have anyone on our board representing the Brandon area. So I guess my wish is that we could do that. I'd like to feel that we can represent the whole county. We already have several people from the Winthrop area or the east side of the county already on the board, and Brandon area is sorely lacking.
Thanks for your comments.
I would make a motion that we appoint Anthony Erger to the planning and zoning board. You know, and anybody that's a farmer is also an entrepreneur. That's evident. They're a business. I mean, they manage dollars that I would hate to try to manage. So, and he is from the area.
On that point, I mean, Anthony seems like a fine candidate, but we already have a super majority of farmers on the planning and zoning, so I'm not gonna second it.
That's fine, Keith, but that's what planning and zoning is about. That's the county residents. They have to be from the county. They're not supposed to be rural. I guess I'm not understanding your point on that.
As a farmer. That was my point.
They're supposed to be farmers. That's the big tax dollars out in the county is the farmers. They're the landowners.
I will second Dawn's motion. All in favor?
Nay.
Would you like a roll call, Chris?
Yes, please.
Kurt's aye.
Wheel
Hold
nay.
on.
Approve the construction permit for Cook Brothers LTD.
That's, it's basically out of our hands. There's absolutely nothing at this point that the county has any jurisdiction over. If you reviewed the information in the packet, it's spoke that the DNR has approved it. They have met all the requirements expected of the DNR, and the documentation is all in here. So there is a letter that basically needs signed stating that you are approving the draft permit. And the board understands that it has the right to appeal the issuance of the final construction permit within 14 days after its receipt of the draft permit under Iowa Code 459.304.
Can you refresh my memory on that? Where's that property located?
It's down in Newton Township. Newton Township, Section 5. It's an established facility. And from my understanding, and I haven't read through all the documentation, but they are expanding. So that's why it has the construction permit has to go through the DNR. They're already a master matrix. So there's a letter and then there's a resolution that the DNR sent to us.
Any other discussion?
I'll make the motion to approve the construction permit and authorize the chair to sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Items for discussion or approval, place on file the following manure management plans. Darins, Hazleton Township, Section 15. Gerstenberger, Hazleton Township, Section 22. Motion to place those on file.
I would make a motion to place the manure management plans on file.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor. Right. Next, transfer history of townships. We wanted this on the agenda to discuss.
Sure, I got a couple requests of information saying that a couple townships didn't get transfers that they expected. And requesting about 5 years of transfer history seems like the good way to clear up any of those questions.
Can you tell me what township it is?
I can't remember right off. I can find them for you.
Well, it's hard for us to address the problem if I don't know what township it is, because what do we have? 14? 16, thank you, Brian.
If they came to you, they came to you, but they came to me, so.
Okay, so the other thing is we don't transfer any funds to townships. They're the same as any type of city, hospital, ag extension. They submit their budget. We have no jurisdiction on what they do with their budget. We submit it to the Department of Management. Once taxes are paid, then funds are appropriated
So that appropriation. I
by,
guess,
the treasurer's office does that. If the taxation does not come in to meet their budget requirements, we can't send them money. I do know that there was a township that came in a couple months ago, was upset that they were not getting the money they thought they should be getting. But the last 2 years, they did not budget that amount.
Yeah, I heard that too. So that seems like a good reason.
So yeah, so we can't give it to them if they don't budget it. And this is the book of budgets for about 10 years. Treasurer's office has binders year after year. So in order for us to address this problem, I need to know what township it is.
I've got a plat book here. if you know
Because
what it is.
basically what's happening right now is the auditor's office and the treasurer's office is being accused of withholding funds from a taxing entity. Now, do you really think that that's what we're going to do?
Just trying to clear up any questions.
Then ask the questions. We cannot address the problem if we don't know the township.
I think they have that, and I think that's why they reached out to me.
We've not had any requests from any townships.
Okay.
If they do request it, generally it's in July when they don't receive any money because no taxes are collected in the month of July. Because we don't have taxes ready yet. So that's generally, if they're not getting their funds, they reach out to us and ask why they're not getting them. It's just a month that they hadn't received any. We've not had any requests from anybody in recent months asking us why they're not getting their money.
Yes, ma'am. So identifying to them that that's the proper or typical procedure to follow would be, seems like that's something they would need to know.
Well, and they should know that because the majority of our township, we have a few newer ones. The majority of our township clerks have been on for years. That they know the process. That's why this whole request is quite confusing to me.
If you got the names, we got the list of who's on those trust.
Sure, I can
boards.
send them to you.
Can you tell me?
Tell
I
us.
mean, I have the book right here. I can look it
I'll
up.
have to ask them which township they represent.
No, just give us the name. We know. we
Oh,
can look it
of
up
a
right here.
clerk or a trustee in that township?
I'll have them here in front of me, so
You don't recall?
don't write them down. It seemed like the.
Okay, so if we figure out this problem, which I'm sure there's really not a problem, maybe just,
Misunderstanding.
misunderstanding,
Absolutely,
clarification,
that's what I'm looking for.
how are we to know who we are to respond to?
I'll take it back to them.
I will take it back to them because the budgets go through my office.
Oh.
The appropriations go through the treasurer's office. That's what we're required to do by the code.
And this way you know that they got the information.
And if they don't understand it or need help with their budgets, that's what we do in my office. Same thing with the financial reports. We have people in those positions that come in all the time with questions and help with stuff. So that's why this is so odd that just all of a sudden they can't come to my office anymore and they're going directly to you. And you're more than welcome to come in and ask me about it.
Sure.
Instead of just sending an email, a verbal communication, I could have pulled this book out, we could have talked to the treasurer's office, and I bet the issue would be solved.
Sounds great.
So we're at the point where we can't do anything until we know what we need to be looking into.
Well, I'll send you a meeting invite.
Can you just tell me so I can address the problem?
Like I
Everything
said, I'll
doesn't-
have to go look it up.
Everything doesn't have to be done through email. I mean, you can come in and ask questions regarding things. It's verbal communication. And that's how we all work together.
Talked about this several times, Keith. Some upfront communication will go a long ways to getting things accomplished.
So at this point,
This
it's
has
on the,
become drama over nothing.
so at this point, it's on the agenda. However, we can't address an issue. We can't solve a problem when we don't know where the problem's coming from.
I've asked for 5 years of transfer history for the townships. And it sounds like.
We've got it
we
right.
also need to, yeah, so that's fine. I'll look
This
into it.
this is the budget
Thank you.
that they turn in every year.
That's one of my office to get all.
Treasurer's office does the transfers.
Thank you.
But however, if there is a certain township that has a problem, we need to address that problem.
Right.
Giving you 5 years is not gonna tell you anything.
No, because it doesn't tell what budget they've submitted. It doesn't tell if the department, what taxes the Department of Management
Or
of
what
actually.
township is not understanding this or claiming that the treasurer's office is not sending them money.
Okay. So I'll take a look at that and I'll reach out to you folks. Thank you.
It's really amazing. You can't remember who it was that asked you. If it was such a big issue, how are you gonna respond back to me?
I'd have to look at their email address. I can't remember his first name.
Was it Byron Township?
Honestly, I can't remember.
Could you search your email right now, real quick? I mean, we got time.
You want me to search for Byron Township within my emails?
No. Search for whatever the email came in under.
Thought it was a big enough issue to be on the agenda. We should be able to solve.
I didn't think it was gonna be this big of a need issue to ask for information.
When you have 16 townships, it makes it a little bit hard to figure out which one.
Right there.
And like I said, these are budgets. These are not the appropriations. The treasurer's office does the appropriation. So basically, so it's a public records request that you're issuing? Is that what you want, or are we going to solve the problem?
I would like to know both sides of the story, so I would like to be able to say, here's the information. Is this what you expected?
So are you wanting to take over the budgets and appropriations for the townships? That's what,
Well, that was never part of my request.
okay? So how are you going to explain it to this anonymous person asking if you're unaware of the process of how this all works?
Because I would like to learn the process as well. It's very obvious that looking at the macro effect of all of these different townships, the process that other townships would have followed. And you're saying that there potentially would be a mistake under one particular township, so to be able to identify for them,
But that,
these are,
it's not a mistake. There is no
Lower
mistake.
tax acts.
They lowered their tax asking, therefore they do not get as much as they had in the prior years.
Yeah.
And they've done that.
maybe that's what they need to understand.
And that's
I had that
what's-
conversation with that trustee in August, or not the trustee, excuse me, my mistake, the clerk. Because he was working on his annual financial statement, and he couldn't understand. We stood at the counter and went through his budget, and we went through the past budgets. And that's exactly why he's not getting the funding that he thought he should, because their tax asking was lower. I cannot give them any more than that. I mean, it'd be no different if City of Winthrop submitted their budget and they lowered it by $10,000 and they come in, oh, I made a mistake, we need that $10,000. We just can't pull $10,000 out of taxation and give it to them.
Keith, doing the stuff while you're doing it is actually setting everybody up for failure. When I have a question that goes to either the auditor or the treasurer, I just tell them to contact the auditor or the treasurer, because that takes me out of the middle. And they can get that information directly from the auditor or the treasurer in a fashion that is explained in maybe a manner that they can understand. I'm going to understand it one way and explain it that one way. But these ladies deal with this all the time on a daily basis. They know how to explain it in multiple ways to help the person understand it better. So that removes me from the middle. I'm not playing telephone then, or telegraph, like what we used to play as a little kid, you know, to where the information starts out here and comes here and then goes there, and then it's all different at the end of it. This way, they're getting it directly from the horse's mouth. Or the person's mouth.
Plus,
So
if there's
that's
more
how I
questions
handle this
that
type of
arise
stuff.
out of that discussion,
They're
you
there,
can answer it right there.
right?
I'm sure there will be. That makes sense.
And so that way they're right there with, and that way you're removed from the middle of it. There's no drama. And it's the right way to handle it. Just like if I have, somebody comes to me about something that's in the sheriff's office, I just refer them to the sheriff's office, because that's the people that have that information and they know what they can and can't say.
Again, I'd like you to answer Chris's question by looking at your email to let her know.
I will.
Well, I would like you to do it now.
Don't think it's necessary.
It's an open meeting. Let's do it now. Brought it up as a part of the open agenda. Let's do it now.
I'm not gonna do it right now.
And I would really
But that's
prefer,
stand in the record that he is.
I would really prefer if you are going to make contact with this person involved in this township, that they come to myself or to the treasurer's office, because we are the ones that handle it. So if you would please direct them to us.
And they did.
Apparently they didn't go to the treasurer's office because the treasurer's office hasn't heard from anybody.
Fair point. Yeah, I appreciate that.
So that it's quite obvious, I know exactly who you're talking about and not willing to give me the name. But once again, if they lower their tax asking, we cannot give them any more than what they are asking for. It's pretty laid out in the law. And I honestly don't think anyone in the auditor's office nor the treasurer's office is not going to give a taxing entity their requested funds. So this has turned into a mountain, which should be a molehill, because this trustee or this clerk has been explained this. We went through 3 years of budgets. We understood, him and I both, on why he's not getting the tax asking.
Okay, thank you.
This, again, is one of those issues, Keith, that I hope you can use as a teaching moment. You're getting involved in things that are not in your lane. Refer them to the appropriate people. I get emails all the time, and I refer them to Sheriff Bazinski, because it's nothing that I can do. And that's the way you do it. You can't be involved in everything. We are responsible for a very small portion of what happens in the county.
Mhm.
We have elected officials that are responsible for those things. Stay in your lane, okay?
I guess I would like for clarification in the minutes and how we are going to proceed with this, if we are to turn over the 5 years. If you would like that, that's not a problem, but I wanted on the record that this is something that's approved by the Board of Supervisors. And then I also would like clarification if this is a public records request or if this is something the board would like to proceed with, because there's a huge difference. And in all reality, I'm done with the drama. So,
Fair enough, Chris.
Board of Supervisors, you direct us what you would like us to do, and we'll be happy to do it.
My opinion is we have a binder right here that has all that information in it. I think if Mr. Wheelan has questions, he's certainly entitled to take a look at it. So, and you make copies of whatever's appropriate for it.
And this information also, it's all out on the Department of Management's website. Every taxing entity in the state of Iowa, their budget information is out there. So that is also another resource of where you could find that information.
Was this request made in writing originally?
Just the email that was sent requesting it on the agenda is all I have received. Same, I think you guys all got the same email.
Because what I don't want to have happen is I don't want to have us make a decision here and then this afternoon have this turned over to IPIB.
Unfortunately, that's the world we live in right now.
John thoughts?
Oh, I would echo that.
And that's why I was asking clarification if it was something the board wanted to act on, or if I need to consider this open records request.
Well, as you said, this is public record, so does the board need to act on it?
So Keith, you're saying you want all of these records as an open record request. I need to clarify
As a
that.
board of supervisor or as a person, please.
Right, because we need to, there are certain confidential information that cannot be released.
And that's why I asked for township information.
I think we need to make this an open records request, Chris. Let's just cover our, you know what's, and let's just make an open records request, give them exactly those things. And if this person has a question, they can come back to you. Because
So you're making this as a supervisor or as a person?
Make it as a
supervisor,
person.
absolutely. As a supervisor, absolutely.
no, because I don't want information that shouldn't be shared,
As a
shared.
supervisor, absolutely.
He's making it as a supervisor. So at that point,
If you release anybody's social security numbers or anything that cannot be released,
We're talking about township still?
we are talking about townships still.
At this point with the open records request, for 5 years of budgeting, 5 years appropriation, 16 townships, because we don't know what township it is. I have 80 different documents that need to be copies and given to Mr. Wheelan, which is an expense on my end, not only my time, but the fact that I have to make copies. Plus the same thing on the treasurer's office. So if this is an open records request, which that's fine, if that's the way you folks want to handle it. In the majority of the cases, there is a form, a policy that we have for these requests, and there is a fee. As custodian of the records, I can impose that fee.
To the Board of Supervisors.
You just made it as an open records request, so yes.
Or you can,
I can review it myself, I believe, and not be subject to that.
You already stated you wanted it as an open records request. So if it's going to cost you, you don't want it as an open records request. Is that
I'm
what
just
we're saying?
providing options.
we've already given you the opportunity to go through it right here.
Sure.
And make copies of whatever you want to make a copy of. Why do you choose to burden other employees of the county with your frivolous demands?
I don't,
Well,
feel
you
free-
obviously are.
I'm not burdening the employees with frivolous demands.
That is your opinion.
I think we disagreed there.
We have a tendency to do that. So what's your action? You want the open records request or not?
As a supervisor, yes.
I'll get your form printed. We like to have those on record. I guess it's up to you if you refuse to sign it. That is up to you
I'm gonna refuse to sign it for
the open records request.
Okay.
And then also, if I'm going to be making copies of all of this, there will be a fee that will be charged.
to the Board of Supervisors.
No, it will be charged to Keith Wheelan because Keith Wheelan is the one making the request.
I just said I was gonna request it as a supervisor.
What if the supervisors decide that we don't want to approve that?
Because that would be something
The way
that-
to vote, yeah.
If it's gonna be charged back to the Board of Supervisors, that would be something that would come out of your budget. That is currently not budgeted for, but could you find it in there? Possibly, yeah.
Don, do you have any thoughts?
I am just blown away. I have never, ever thought that, quite frankly, Keith, that first open records request, the one that you made and you turned Chris in on, I sat there and within 5 minutes, I had all that information. I didn't have to ask anybody for it.
I still haven't gotten it.
Look, it's all out there. All you have to do is start searching through agendas and then go back to meetings. It's out there. You can find that information pretty easy. So if you do your own homework, then we don't have any of this. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of expense for the county. It's a lot of my time, your time, John's time, Chris's time, the audience's time tied up for nothing.
Or walk
something.
into their office and ask them, where do I find this?
Okay.
Start treating people like they're human.
You are not authority over any of these people. And you gotta quit acting like that.
I have no power over Chris. She has no power over me. We're on the same level.
We're on a team.
We're on it. Those are my thoughts. I don't know. How do you guys want to handle this? What I don't want is I don't want all of a sudden to have Mr. Wheeland talk to his friend, Mr. Alexander Lee at IPIB and have another something.
We're not friends. I mean, seems like a great guy, but we're not friends.
Well, apparently I've never spoke to him, but you have. So you're more friendly with him than I am. And I just don't want Chris to end up in a bind again. So let's handle it the way that covers. That leaves us least exposed, which is gonna put a burden on the auditor's office once again,
And the treasurer's office.
and the treasurer's office, and both those offices are already neck deep in work.
So are you agreeable as far as satisfying your open records request by them providing you the binder here can make copies of whatever you choose to make the copy of. Would that suffice, or does she have to go through all
I
the,
would prefer that I went through the binder.
okay,
He just needs to tell me the dates and means we don't know exactly
what
what,
townships?
what township.
5 years of district, that's what I requested.
For all townships or just those two? Okay. I don't understand your rationale, Mr. Wheelan.
And then with this, are you also making an open records request for 5 years of history of 16 township appropriations through the treasurer's office?
As a supervisor, yes, no.
It doesn't matter if you're a supervisor, you argue that point all the time. I don't care if you're requesting it as a person or a supervisor at this point. I am just asking what records you were requesting so you can complete the form properly and we will get it taken care of.
We made an agreement in July that individual supervisors were not going to be giving other department heads or elected officials direction on their own. It had to be from a board action. I think this violates that. Ashley, do you have an opinion on that at all?
This request violates that?
By making a request from him for the board of supervisors to pay for it when it's not a board action.
I mean, the resolution says any request to an employee, department head, elected official, whatever that may be, should be put on the agenda and for the board to discuss. And then if you guys approve to have that said employee do X task, then they go ahead and do it. But since it's an open records request, I don't know if that's a little different.
I honestly think if the board of supervisors is gonna pay for it, that's the biggest waste of taxpayers' money.
I didn't say the board of supervisors are gonna pay for it.
He's requesting it as a board of supervisor. So
So we're gonna be charged for it.
It'd be different if it wasn't an open records request. Then yes, you'd have to approve. At least a quorum. And
but if he's requesting it as a board, a supervisor, then it needs to be approved by the board of supervisors. It's charged back to the board of supervisors. If he's requesting it as a person, then it can be charged back to Mr. Wheelan.
And please don't release anything that would be outside of HIPAA compliance, because sometimes stuff finds its way to the internet.
John, ask a question.
Sure.
If it's being addressed as a person of the board of supervisors versus an individual person, that's the expense upon the board of supervisors. So therefore, doesn't the board of supervisors have to vote and approve that request?
That would be
It's being brought as a board of supervisors and not as an individual person.
kind of read it in mind. That's where I was going.
If you brought it as an individual person, then the board of supervisors does not have to form any action upon it.
Right.
The way I understand the law.
You,
And so I just wanted to bring that up. If it's being addressed as a board of supervisors, then you guys have to vote on allowing that expense to happen. Correct?
correct.
Unless I'm remembering the law incorrectly.
So Keith, you're gonna use your position to charge the board of supervisors to get information. That's abuse of power.
If it's brought as an individual, then the board doesn't have to show any action. Then it's the responsibility of the individual. Just the way I remember the law.
So the action on the table right now is, do we allow the board of supervisors to request the documentation from the townships and provide it to Mr. Wheeland and have the board of supervisors pay for it?
In this case, it'd be Supervisor Wheelan. Yes.
Mr. Supervisor Wheeland. Fine. So I would need, I guess, a motion to have that happen.
I will make a motion that we supply the documents. However, if Supervisor Yulin wants them, he can pay for them out of his own pocket. It should not be paid for out of our budget.
This would be a supervisory action or the supervisor action, so you're asking an individual to pay for a supervisory action.
Don't you, aren't you a living, breathing
That's exactly
actual
right.
person?
Is exactly right.
Unfortunately, and another part that's concerning to me and whether or not it has any effect on anything. The board is also taking action on supplying these records due to a request or a concern that there's a township not receiving funding. However, we don't even know what township or what the individual is that has this concern.
So we're gonna redo all of the records because of that, in which case it's gonna be more paperwork
Over a 5-year span.
over a 5-year span. When that person could just come to you and you could go over the documentation with them and clarify the issue, the problem.
100%.
But then again, Mr. Wheelan doesn't get to look like Superboy or superhero.
Could you just delay this and get legal opinion? So that way that somebody doesn't come behind your back and send it to IFIB or something like that. What is the legal way that this should be done? As a citizen, I would say that there's no way that he shouldn't pay for this because it's a personal, even though says he's acting for the board, this is a personal request.
Yeah, Ralph.
Another, something that's making no sense to me is if you have just one or two counties that are saying they're not getting their appropriations,
Townships.
townships, why do you need to go through the expense of all townships publications being printed, which is an additional expense plus additional payroll time and everything? Why can't you just do the two counties?
The
two
townships,
Or townships?
he doesn't know who they are.
To show
He
them,
won't disclose who they are.
to show them how the other townships have done it, how they followed through.
Well, don't you think that that's the job of the people who's.
That is my job. That's my office's job. As a board of supervisor, you have zero to do with the township's budgets. We take care of all of that. So that is completely out of your jurisdiction.
The complaints do come through my jurisdiction.
Then you refer them back to the jurisdiction where they should go. Period. End of discussion.
These people were the townships. Is there a reason why
Because they've asked me about this information.
they asked you to withhold their?
I don't know that I have their permission to give out the information.
To give out what township they
That
come
doesn't
from?
make sense. It doesn't make sense. If you're trying to get an answer, you have, they need to know what the township is, so that doesn't, I guess I'm just confused with that, because to come and to any of these people and say, I'm not gonna tell you who this involves or what township it involves, but I wanna know why they're not getting their money. That's a blank slate.
Before we go any further, I'm gonna make a motion that we consult with the county attorney's office on guidance on this and where to go from here, because I don't think we can come up with a good resolution. And we will table it until we hear back.
I don't think you can make that motion, but I'll make that motion.
Why can't I make that?
You can make it. Chair can make a motion.
Chair
The time-
can make a motion?
Yeah, chair can make
Okay,
a
let's
motion.
do it. Yeah, I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And unfortunately, we'll put this on the agenda again. We'll visit with the county attorney regarding that. And if the information would just be given to me on what township is concerned, the issue could be resolved. I have plenty of work on my plate to do. I don't need to do this twice. It could be solved, it could be explained if you would share the information who requested this or who had the concern.
Sure, thanks. Is there anything else?
He's having some short-term.
No, there's not. When would you like it back on the agenda and who is consulting with the county attorney? Or is that on my plate?
I will send a request to the county attorney's office.
Okay, I would probably start with Josh. I know he had, and obviously Carbon Sean on it. I know they are overwhelmed with their duties also at this time. And the additional work has been very stressful. Okay, thank you, John.
Keith, do you know what a sovereign citizen is? You might want to,
Is this on the agenda?
no, it's not, but I'm starting to think you're wrong.
Okay. Next on the agenda, employee reviews. Ashley.
All right. So every year, last year, remember, at least Dawn and John, we did employee reviews for the employees that direct report to you. We'll be doing those again this year. So how this kind of works is there's about 10 employees, excluding Brian this year, because he will be retiring, so about 10. I will send a self-evaluation form to that employee, and then I will also send that form to you three with their job description attached. You guys will fill that out, send it back to me. I will create packets with the employee's self-evaluation, your evaluations, and I will create a summary evaluation of what you three came up with, kind of like an average. I will provide that to you again in your packets. And then we will hold those those evaluations mid-December. I went to the employment law seminar for Ehlers and Cooney in October, I believe. And they actually talked about this. We did it this way last year, but just kind of to refresh your memory and inform you, Keith. So the safest approach to do this, since it's going to be you three in there and evaluating, let's say me, because I am one of those employees. We'll have to do separate closed sessions for each employee to stay compliant. So we held them in the North Conference Room last year, but we'll hold them in the boardroom this year. I think that'll be easiest. So we would be in an open session and then we would go into closed session per Iowa code. You guys are all familiar with this code, 21.51I. I have it here. You guys have all seen this before. We'll have that ready. So we'll go into closed session then, and that's to evaluate an employee's performance or discharge, things like that. That's what that code references. Then we'll go into closed session. Then we'll go through the employee performance review, and then we will go out of closed session, back into open session, and then we'll go back into closed session for the next employee. So we're going to be doing that. It's kind of a hassle, but it's what we need to do to stay compliant. We did that last year. I've also confirmed with the attorney, so nobody needs to look into this further. I got it covered. So my request to do that, again, it's going to be a little later this year, just since it's been very busy this year and we want to give everyone the time to fill out their self-evaluations, and you guys fill out the evaluations as well. So the dates that I have, where's that at? So the week, December 14th through the 20th, I'm going to request that we do it Monday, the 15th and Thursday, the 18th. We have a part-time employee that you guys will be evaluating, and that employee is only here on those days. And then I've also checked some availability with some of the other employees, and we found that the 15th and the 18th work the best. So you guys have a board meeting on the 15th. Sometimes they tend to go longer, so I have the first one scheduled for 11 to 11:30. 30 minutes will be sufficient enough to do that. Then we'll have like a 15-minute break, and then we'll go back into the session. Monday we'll have one at 11 until 11:30, and then we'll have lunch break because the employees go to lunch usually during that time. And then we'll start back up at 1 and go from like 1 to 3:45. And then on Thursday, we'll get them all done in the morning. We'll start at 8:30, and then we'll be done at 12. Does that work for you guys? The 15th and the 18th. So we'll start at 11 on December 15th and go to 3:30.
18th is bad for me.
18th.
After the 15th is back for me.
Okay.
For 2:30, after 2:30 is good on the 18th.
How about the 18th for John and Dawn?
18th is fine for me, but
18th, I have available all day.
After 2:30 for Keith?
Yeah.
So, I could start one at 2:30 or 3.
2:30.
Okay. So I will check the schedule for that, and then Monday, the 15th does not work for anybody.
The 15th, I gotta be in Waterloo for a doctor's appointment.
15th is fine for me.
So I would have to leave at 1-ish. And I can be back by 2:30.
I'm fine on the 15th, but we need a different day, we can find a different day.
How about
Was that the day that this part-time employee, is that what you said?
yeah, I can fit them in on Thursday, because they're here on Thursdays, I'll just stick them in the morning. So
I
the
thought
third,
you said Thursday was out on. He's not available.
after 2:30, so we can
Thursday's
start at
17th.
2:30. That's not gonna get everybody in. How about the 16th and 17th?
16th, 17th is no in the afternoon, absolutely not.
For both 16th and 17th? Oh,
You're busy too.
is that for the 16th or 17th?
That's for the 17th.
Oh, okay. How about the 16th?
I'm available 16th.
Are there gonna be treats involved?
For this?
Yeah.
No, but there'll be treats available this Wednesday. So the 16th for everybody,
I can work with.
all day? Okay. So I will check back with, the employees as well, so we'll aim for Tuesday, December 16th. Maybe we can kind of squeeze them in well, no, we're gonna have to do that one employee on Thursday. But we'll do 12/16, and then Thursday, the 18th, December 18th, we'll start at 2:30.
Will that give you enough time to cover the employees?
Because we have all day on Tuesday, the 16th, should be able to, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, yeah, exactly 10 employees, 30
So what
minutes
time do
each.
you want to start on the 16th?
I'll probably start it at 8:30, so,
Okay.
we can get a lot in on that day, and then we'll have we'll have to definitely have, a couple on the 18th. No, just, there's 10 of them. And again, I'll provide, Tracy Price, the mental health advocate. She reports under you guys now, and same with Patty Meyer. And then the engineer next year will, but we're not doing Brian this year. So you guys will have zoning, maintenance, GIS, IT, myself, roadside management, Julie Davison, case management, Patty Meyer, Tracy Price. I'm not sure if I already said those. And then, like I said, the engineer would have been, but we'll do that next year.
Can you forward us job descriptions for those?
Yep, I will give you guys the evaluation forms and job descriptions, and I'll have a timeline that you'll have to get them to me by. And please follow that timeline so that I can get all the packets ready, because it's a long process.
Right. Are they different evaluation forms than last year?
I've updated them, and they're similar, but I've updated them a little bit, and then the summary form I've updated as well, because instead of doing the summary within the evaluation, it'd be nice to just have the average of everyone, and then we'll go through your comments, their comments, and the summary, and then they'll be able to be provided a copy of their summary performance review. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Once you get your schedule together, will you just forward it to me so then I can put the agenda together? I
Yep,
mean,
of course.
I don't need to know employee times because that does not go on. I just need like a time frame of the special session and the,
Yep, and then we'll have to do
And-
minutes for, that's a good point too. We'll have to do minutes, for each closed session, and I will be in there doing those. Just of when we went into closed session, when we went out, and then we'll start a new closed session for each employee. Like I said, we'll have a 15-minute break between each one, so then you can review the, next employee. Get that reviewed before they come in.
Hey, John,
Yes,
you want to do me a favor when you, I know you're reaching out to Josh on that one issue. Can you go ahead and reach out to Holly Corkery too? I want to make sure that we're covered both ways. Thanks.
so tentatively on the 18th is 2:30, and then
Yep, so Tuesday, the 16th will be all day. Again, we'll probably have a break for lunch, or maybe I can squeeze them in the morning. And then Thursday, the 18th, we'll start the first one at 2:30 PM. Again, they will be held here in the boardroom. Any questions?
Good.
I'll send you the updated schedules once I communicate with the employees on what works best, and then you guys will, I'll send out calendar invites to everybody.
Next on the agenda is the Jesup School parking lot damage estimate that Supervisor Wheeler will.
Sorry, Damon.
Or drainage estimate.
Took a complaint, from a farmer in the field, who said that his property abutted to D20, which is a secondary road system. He said that, the ditches were filling up, next to, because of the runoff from the school, and were exasperated by the school. The school did an engineering assessment on it, which it's not a significant amount of drainage, so that
I
seems to
read the
be.
topo maps
Yeah.
on this. And the natural drainage is clearly across the farmer's field. And so it's not down the road ditch, the water never enters the, well, depending on how they're trying to drain it, but the natural drainage is taken it the opposite direction. You've got one very distinct, and it's a grass waterway. coming out of that. What's that?
This is the one you're referring to.
That one's the one they're referring to?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you notice, that's the natural drainage going across there, Keith.
And that's a
And
draft waterway.
no, the grassed waterway, it takes it to the grassed waterway.
Here you go.
Yeah, and so you've actually another one coming in over this way too. And so cleaning the ditch,
Is it gonna help?
no, where would you take the water to?
Okay.
And we'll regularly get requests to clean the ditch that way. And then if there's no drainage, then you're just digging a hole for the water to sit in.
So technically, this is the city's problem anyway.
Purely, that's right.
And his complaint was the ditch on D20,
Right.
But if you look, Keith, it's,
which is what you said.
Yeah.
Which is what we responded to.
there's the grassed waterway and this is the drain. You can see the contours.
Yeah.
So unless you guys have any questions of me or.
So actually, they should be referred back to the city then, in
Correct.
this instance.
Correct.
It's the city's problem.
And there's a couple ways of mitigating it. You never solve things. Stormwater detention, such as the ponds, or the other is piping, which is your storm drains. That's expensive.
No,
So
not my problem.
Not my problem. Thank you.
That's not my circus and those are not my monkeys.
So again, we've got Mr. Leland trying to micromanage things in the county that should have never even come before the board.
Precisely.
If you would have forwarded that information to the proper person, they could have dealt with it and it wouldn't have had to been here
Or I would explain it
to that.
directly to you, Keith, either way.
sure, thank you.
And then contacting the city.
Another teachable moment. Thank you.
And I would have no heartburn with trying to meet with the city and explain the maps too, but
Or
it's pretty.
even with the landowner. That you need to contact the city.
His contention though is you get more water runoff off of a paved parking lot than you did before. Or the other issue that I've heard is when they flush their water tower, which I'm not familiar with that act. It dumps a lot of water that would not be in the natural drainage down that system. But that was an issue I heard of several years ago.
Good, thank you.
All right. Board and commission updates.
We had a bunch. Substance Use Prevention Coalition, we're gonna meet this Thursday at Public Health at 10 a.m. We're looking for new members, so that would be amazing if folks would
So
attend that.
That's this coming week.
Yes, this Thursday at Public Health at 10 a.m. One of the topics we're talking about is the community training that's been going on, stigma associated with substance abuse disorder. That just wrapped up. And then in January, we'll be talking about, there'll be another community training for drug trends. They're going to be talking about resource card distribution, adding people onto their social media accounts, and then they're drafting their strategic plan. Northeast Iowa Workforce Development Board, Youth Standing Committee, Buchanan County and Fayette counties are working on that Title I presence, which is this week. So the Iowa Works van will be at Public Health. Flyers and outreach are going out. Youth Summit survey. So they had a youth summit up in Mason City, and they're talking about future planning for future youth summits. There is a discussion about whether or not to include in Northeast Iowa Workforce Development a youth waiver. So that might be a board action. We'll find out more on this Thursday. If either of you would like to attend that, please let me know to get more information on that, but I'll find out more about it on Thursday as well. Because some areas have indicated that they do not support the waiver. Fayette and Butler County Community Foundation, they're starting to follow in our footsteps in Buchanan County. Northeast Iowa Workforce Development Board is submitting grant applications for that. Regional Transit Association, Transportation Association, they're asking for project solicitation, so that would go back to the county engineer, which he's in on that conversation already. Exec board is a lot of the routine conversations as well, talking about a job description and salary change, setting up the website contracts, health and dental services, policies, renewals, housing inspector procurement and contracting. And then Northeast Iowa Workforce Development Board has a justice involved youth subcommittee. So that one of their focuses is going to be connecting employers and workforce development programs to create opportunities for justice involved youth. They're also going to be having expungement clinics. They're going to have the youth summit planning for 2026, which we're discussing in another committee as well. Grants and funding opportunities, and then youth strategic plan.
But that's gonna be this coming week then.
That's this week.
This week too. But I will report next week once they're done. So on the 13th, the Council on Aging had their meeting at the senior center. And we went over our financials, of course. We did decide and end the meeting minutes, so I guess I can go into it. We did talk about the beef producers lunch and how well that turned out, and that we did run out of some stuff. So this next year we're going to plan for more people. Yeah. And then we decided that we're gonna do our pork producers would do the beef. The Cattlemen's Association will do the pork producers on Juneteenth again, because that is the day that any I3A does not supply meals for the seniors. So we have pork burgers that day instead, and it's a free will donation on that day. We are going to add back in our ice cream social sometime, and that will probably be between June and September. I'm assuming probably before school starts, somewhere in there. So we'll be doing that also at the senior center. So we did discuss those fundraisers. And, Roy's looking for volunteers. And we discussed, potentially changing some of the funding, like where we have our money to maybe higher interest or an account with interest, since the always better, even if you don't have very much money, to have your money make money. And we got the painters done, everything's been updated and done at the center, so we're good to go. And they do rent the facility out on weekends and in the evenings. We'll continue to move forward with the Legion being a part of, or the VA being a part of having their meetings there additionally. So
About how much, are they sitting on for funds? How much are they looking to refinance?
That I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I don't have those figures here.
Sure.
And
What's it cost to rent that out for a day?
$100 for, on the weekdays and I think 150 on the weekend day. That's all I have. This next week I have several coming up and I'm gonna be out of town and I'll be zooming into them from out of town. Because vacations are not vacations unless you take your computer with you.
Okay, I attended the annual meeting for the Macoka River watershed, that was held down in Monticello. And basically recapped all of our, events that we've done throughout the year. Gave their update on their water sampling and that type of thing. Interesting thing that, nitrate levels in the Maquoketa are much lower this past year. And which is unusual because, overall throughout the state of Iowa, nitrate levels are rising. I guess the biggest and most exciting project that we helped fund, was at the new Millinery Abbey, which is south of Dyersville. This is, I think 1,300 acres, and the majority of it is leased out farm ground or forest. And there's several creeks that run through there. And it used to be inhabited by beavers years ago. But the floods, that hit us, in the last 10 years tore out all the beaver dams and the beavers disappeared.
Oh, no.
The forester there is an amazing guy and he's, working on building buffer strips and, replanting trees and that type of thing. To improve water drainage and retention. And he actually came up with a, plan on building their own beaver dams. Where they go in and they drive in stakes and construct a beaver dam. And it's called an analog beaver dam. And they actually construct these periodically along the streams. And it helps back up water, but also slows water. And it aids in inundating the adjacent forest ground with water till it can naturally seep and then it releases it. And they built 2 of them last year and they've upheld great through the heavy rains and everything else. And they're working on constructing more. They've had a couple work days over there. But amazingly enough, all of a sudden the beaver are back.
Good. They're amazing.
Which is incredible. And so hopefully what they're going to do is reinforce these beaver dams or build additional ones. But it's really good for, controlling erosion and, hopefully improve water quality. The majority of this goes to the Maquoketa River. Part of it goes to Crane Creek, but, this forester is doing this and it's very cost effective because it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. The beavers do a lot of the work trimming down the trees and they come in there with some chainsaws and cut up limbs and away they go.
Isn't it amazing that God gave us what we needed and we just were too silly to see it?
So hopefully this is gonna continue on. We have a regular board meeting this week. So I'm sure we'll get more updates on it. The other thing I wanted to discuss, I need a copy for each of you. I've got a meeting up at the hospital with the ICE organization, which is a whole bunch of community organizations and leadership that get together once a month and talk about what's going on within the county and within the city. And I thought I would give an update on where we're at on our projects that we completed. We got the courthouse restroom upgrades and handicap accessibility done last year. The courthouse basement drainage and moisture reduction improvements made. Emergency management relocation and facility upgrades. Senior center roof and siding replacement. Senior center drainage and concrete repairs. The senior center wall, window and door replacements. The food pantry relocation to First Street West and sale of the former building to add back to the tax rolls. Baxter Avenue, V62 concrete overlay from Fairbanks south to C57. The one bridge replacement with rail cars, which were 6 of them. The new modern campground at Fontana Park and the trail project for the bison exhibit. Base stabilization test projects from Iowa State on the granular gravel roadways. The jury room, plaster repair and painting. The floor covering replacement in juvenile court services, and I forgot to list the assessor's office, but it's also there. The Kowalski Diagonal 7.5 mile concrete overlay and the Rasmussen Bridge replacement are now open and functioning and great reviews. And then the courthouse east parking lot markings, which made a huge improvement out there. So those are just some of the things that I thought worth highlighting that we've gotten done this past year or year plus.
Yeah, thanks for
And
Can I segue off of that for just a second?
sure,
Did you, were you able to get a hold of anybody, Keith?
Yeah, I did find a couple grant opportunities, but one of the questions, thank you for bringing this up.
But did you get a hold of, 'cause before we do grants, we have to know how much we're spending. So did you get a hold of somebody to bid that or to?
No, not yet.
Okay.
And one of the things that came up was, how does Buchanan County Commission what does it use as a historic preservation plan? For this, I think this is your world, for the purposes of certified local government compliance. So that was kind of one of the minimum requirements for, so.
if you contact Leanne Harrison,
Yes, sir.
she is the head of that, she's the chair. And in fact, she just sent
Yeah, I know her very well.
notice in that she wants to continue serving because her term is up this year.
Okay.
But she could give you all the information you need.
Yeah, thanks for it.
Sorry, John.
That's all right, not a problem, good information. And with that, I will, Wednesday I do have a meeting of our opioid settlement committee. Sheriff and I get to attend that again for regular members, so I'll have an update on that afterwards.
On that, you actually sent out an email recently about that you were excited about some sort of resolution. Remember what that was? I was gonna ask you more questions about that. I can wait for another day.
Okay. And that's all I have. I'm gonna go to public comments. Aye,
And that for the accomplishments,
thank you.
just for a little over a year, that's a lot.
You could add the Taylor Avenue Bridge on there too, north of 150th Street.
A lot of this was started when Clayton was on and then finished now.
How many rail cars do you use on that?
There was 3 wide. It's just 65 feet long.
You said Taylor Avenue?
Taylor Avenue, just north of 150th Street.
So it's 3 cars, not 6?
Thank you. Well, thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate the comments. Thank you. Sometimes it feels like we're not getting a lot done. The government sometimes isn't known for moving quickly, but we got some things accomplished. Anyone else, public comment? Robert?
I have some concerns, with the, battery energy storage systems. I see that there are people that are trying to get leases and behind the scenes or behind our backs, there's some activity happening. So, I want to list people, and so people that are listening and that type of thing. From my research, I have several concerns. One is that they're flammable, and the thermal runaways are, extremely dangerous. There's no mitigation solution that's successful in these systems. There's thousands of battery cells, and letting it burn out is basically the best solution. A lot of times it's 5 to 6 hours in length, depending on whether it's in South Korea, United Kingdom, Australia, or some in the United States. But these toxic gases that are being emitted are carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, methane, and hydrogen. Moss Landing had a major fire January 16th of this year. And that lasted 5 days before they were able to extinguish it. 1,500 people were evacuated. And if we look at Hazleton with 700 people, the Amish approximately 1,500 people, and Oline with 6,000 people. Those are people that are really close, depending on where the wind blows, which direction. And also this Moss Landing fire started again in February, only about 2 or 3 weeks later. So they figure it's gonna take 2 years to clean it up. There's already evidence of soil contamination. They're continually measuring the water and air quality. And one of the questions they have is, what do you do with disposal of batteries? You know, thousands of cells. What do you do with those that have been destroyed? Right now, there's lawsuits going on because of health reasons. People are suffering from unstoppable nosebleeds. They're having respiratory problems, headaches, and nausea. And along with this, the U.S. Department of Energy last November has a report out with their cybersecurity division studying the best systems. And some of the things they found is that safety precautions are rare, short-term grid balances are disrupted, standard operating procedures are non-existent. There's very little information that gets out before they establish these. And another thing, to me, this is a big thing that came out, is that the People's Republic of China and their military owns 90 to 100% of the best components. And the Department of Defense has deemed this as a national security risk. In fact, the best systems in the state of Texas basically are under control. State of Texas, the infrastructure is controlled by the Chinese government. Again, national security risk. And the last point is county revenue is virtually non-existent. It depends on how the utility company that governs this gets their grants and their money and can bypass all the tax issues. So there's not a whole lot of money to be made. So to summarize this, the best systems are health environmental risks. They're a threat to national security, and they're a high risk, low to no reward for the county and the people surrounding it. And there's a lot more. Please do your own homework. I suggest the people that are listening, do your own homework. There's a lot of information out there. I haven't come across anything that's really positive for these. And the energy that they usually store goes out of state. In fact, a statement could be made is if we're gonna allow these best systems in the state of Iowa to power the data systems and the energy they take away, then maybe we should contact our legislators to say, you know what? Well, if this is allowed, we'll allow this on the contingency of the energy stays in the state of Iowa. It doesn't go elsewhere.
I think all of that energy goes on the grid and goes off like to Wisconsin or someplace like that. But then it comes back into Iowa to benefit Iowans. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and don't get me wrong, I am not speaking out in favor of any of this. I'm just saying, in all fairness, it goes out of state, but then it comes back into the state.
I have not found that. I haven't. So, anyway.
I did have a conversation with an area farmer that has farmed very much adjacent to that location. And his grandfather, who owns a whole lot of property up there, has been approached by this best system and offered them an amazing lease opportunity. And whether they come in or not, they're obligated to pay that for a certain number of years. So his grandfather's all for it because he sees the almighty buck. And this young farmer is skeptical, to say the least. So,
But they're already starting their activity in the secret.
oh yeah,
Same way the wind energy people did this. We didn't know this for a long time. We had to battle up for 2 years before.
yeah, they're out there signing leases and they've got a list of who's already signed and said, well, your neighbor did it, but get you on.
Money talks. And I have one other
Just
issue.
like next era.
One other issue I want to talk about, and today was another example. because of the volatile environment created since January surrounding the board, in the boardroom, and throughout this building, and the erratic and irrational behaviors witnessed by many around this building, I strongly recommend police attendance at board meetings from now on.
Right.
To that point. And I haven't missed any meetings for many. 11 months.
Yeah, we appreciate when the sheriff can attend us. And he's had surrogates there for him before too.
I would like to make a suggestion. That Mr. Wheeling, please, be nice to see some kind of achievements or training on the board. You've been here a year. I've been to zoning training twice and I've been on the board for 6 years. Be nice to see if you took some of this training to maybe understood better how this local government stuff is supposed to work. That would be my suggestion. Plus, we will be having a zoning workshop, I believe, in January or February. It'll be held here in the county. I would strongly recommend that the supervisors attend to understand where our positions are in regarding our zoning.
Absolutely.
ordinance.
If you guys could,
Yes, we'll be letting people know.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Elena.
You're welcome.
On those meetings or trainings, is that open to the public or just for
I
board
don't know.
members or?
That would be,
We don't usually open them up to the public. It's just more on the lines of the zoning commission, board of supervisors. I think it was a discussion if we invite like City of Independence people to come in and just.
Okay.
Would like to take this moment to thank Elena, if you could pass this on to planning and zoning, and Amber for all of the hard work and diligence you guys do. I appreciate it.
I just give one little tail on to what Bob was saying about the best, when at the last P and Z meeting, when they were, the company was talking to us. They themselves said that at night that, the noise level would be 60 decibels. That's what they were gonna try to keep it down to. The daytime would be louder. 60 decibels is pretty loud.
Just a segue off of what you're saying, there's one in Delaware County, and I did contact the Delaware County supervisor, and she said it's loud, so, I mean, at some point in time, right now, everything isn't up in the air, nobody's really came forward with a plan, but at some point in time, I'll probably do it right along with her.
How many people know about it? That's my concern. Of those 8,000 people up in that area around Hazleton, how many of those people know? I know there's a few people at the P and Z meeting from Littleton, but it's just like the wind turbine issue. Until we got on the stick and started a petition and stuff like that, people didn't know about it.
Well, and right now, I mean, planning and zoning it's just in its beginning stages as far as.
we're just in
Yes,
information
yeah.
gathering.
I can just note too, so we notified a few neighbors that were about 2,500 feet. I would love to notify everybody in that area, but it was just a general, I mean, it extended farther than our 500, but started with 20, but it's still not enough.
Bob, in your research, Mr. Key, in your research, what have you determined the fallout area to be?
What do you mean, as far as the fallout area?
It's gonna depend on how,
It all depends on the wind, and the other thing is that best systems are susceptible to extreme temperatures. Well, Hazleton, Iowa is a lot different than in California. You have extreme cold in the winter, you have extreme cold in the summer. And it's, the risk is gonna be different, but I have not found anything as far as, because it's due to the wind and all the tornadoes and that type of stuff. So I have not been able to find an exact area.
That's really similar to the CO2 pipeline issue, because that was all very wind dependent also.
Yeah.
Anything else for public comment? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Right,